And greetings YouTube. This is a reply to FR Ritz's video piece about his LP that his dad had, which was a stereo demonstration LP. I have a single version of that. It's obviously not got as much on it as the album, but it's got little extracts of some of the pieces that he played to us, just to show you out of just interest really. It has two sides, obviously. On side one we have the train sequence, which is the same as on the video. Then there's a piece called España. Then there's a piece called Another Time, Another Place, which is Virulin. Then on the B side we have title number 1, that's called Beginners Please, and it's actually a very good demonstration of tap dancing. Now it has to be said that the first, or the early 60s pop stereo records were absolutely dreadful in terms of their mixing. I mean, some of the Beatles ones, you'd have like the band on one side and the singers on the other, which, you know, is obviously not really very good stereo reproduction. This is fantastic though, and it has to be said that, you know, even at the very sort of dawn of stereo, you've got, you know, very, very good. It's just the recording technique, isn't it, rather than you know, any technical improvements. Anyway, piece number 2 on side 2 is called June is Busting Out All Over, and that's Ted Heath and his music. And then track number 3 is called You're Just in Love, which is a song by Irving Berlin. On there, they actually play the two melodies, the two contrasting melodies. One comes out of one speaker, one comes out of the other, and then they change. I'm not going to play it to you because this Max built-in microphone wouldn't really do it justice. So anyway, we've got it's STO 101. That's the serial number. You can see that there backwards. Then it's on the Decca label, and it has this rather sort of groovy stereophonic sort of emblem there. It hasn't got the warnings about you know, you must play this only on a stereo record player, but it does have quite a big paragraph here about the requirements of a stereo record. And basically, in a nutshell, it boils down to the fact that if you played this on a mono record player with a mono pickup, which is in the late 50s, that's what they would have had, the stylus would have only tracked the record going in a left and right direction, because that's all mono records needed. Whereas a stereo record, the stylus goes up and down and left and right, i.e. vertically and laterally, to produce the stereo sound. It also, despite the fact that it's very good in terms of the stereo effects on it, it actually sounds like it was recorded in a tunnel. And the reason for that was that in order to get a good signal or groove cut onto a record, engineers at the cutting stage actually decrease the bass, and they sort of boost the treble, and that's to help the stylus track the groove in a better way, in an easier way. The trouble was that different record companies had different ideas about how much bass to be cut and how much treble to be boosted. So a Decca record would sound different from a Columbia record or an EMI record, for example. And so amplifiers would have to sort of take a sort of second guess about how to correct that when it's played back, and so they all sounded slightly different. In the early 50s, there was agreed something called an RIAA curve, which was supposed to try and sort that out, but many record companies didn't really take that on until much later. So, you know, we're talking late 60s, I would imagine, you know, very late 60s, I think. That's why Beatles records, for example, quite often sound very harsh and bright on modern record players, because they were sort of equalised for older systems. They also had very poor cartridges that sounded dull in the treble anyway, so an extra boost wouldn't have really sort of done any harm. But on modern record player, as I say, with with the built-in RIAA characteristics that we have now, it sounds slightly harsh. But there you go. So very interesting record there. Thank you, Fritz, for showing us that, and I like it. Thank you.